All right, we're going to try this again. So I've been working on this 445 here, and the last video, where were we at in the video that I stopped it? Basically, I had tested it and we had cleared the cylinder, and it was still doing it. I think a lot of people, a lot of folks commenting suggested injector, stuff like that, which I'll go over here in just a second. Didn't think it was really the injector in this particular case because the 445 only has one injector. So the injector works on either side of the engine. It's not like the newer Kawasaki's that have two injectors, one for each side of the engine. So it only has one injector, which you can kind of see up in there. Not really. I'd have to take the air cleaner off. So what I did is I tested the compression, and I can't remember if that's on video or not. It was 140 and 150. Should be quite a bit higher than that. And so then I got to thinking, okay, well, what would cause some of these issues? And if anybody's wondering, I have evidently acquired a new shop mascot. This cat showed up and hasn't left, and so is somewhat pesty, but cute little bugger. So anyway, and I'm guessing the cat is going to stay around because my wife has a vet appointment with the cat on Monday. So I'm guessing the cat's going to stay around. So you'll probably see it in more videos. Anyway, back to this 445 here. What I did the other night is I actually just went ahead and pulled the valve cover over here. And in the process, found out that the valves were extremely tight. Valve clearance on these should be about 0.01, and testing these, I got the feeler gauge down to 0.07 before I could get in there, so they were quite tight. The tolerances on the valve were quite tight. So I'm wondering if some of my problem isn't the valves. So I'm wondering if the valves were a little tight. So I adjusted both the valves, and then I realized I didn't video any of it. So then I took one valve cover off, and I did a video adjusting the valves, and evidently that video, something happened to it. So I'm not going to take the valve cover back off again for the third time because I don't have any new gaskets, and I'm already afraid they're going to leak. So just for the purposes of this weekend, I'm going to eventually replace the valve cover gaskets if I can get this thing running, but I have to get it running first. So what I've done, and I'm working on this on a Friday night, and so I don't have any oil filters for this engine. In fact, the only oil I have that's 10W30 is some stuff that I picked up at the farm store just when it was on sale, just in case. So I have 10W30 motor oil. So I drained the motor oil out. That's easy enough to do. It's just a spot on the block in the front. You can see right there, the wrench is actually still on it. So I drained the engine oil. I actually did that last night. And so that's all drained out. Now I can add 1.5 quarts of the new engine oil. I don't have a filter, so I can't change it. But I'll go ahead and get a maintenance kit and everything. I'll change the spark plugs and whatnot if this works. And evidently somebody's being demanding. If you can hear the meowing. And so I'm going to go ahead and add the 1.5 quarts of engine oil, and then we're going to fire it up and see if it runs any better. So let me do that. All right, got the oil added. See how she fires up. That sounds pretty good. Test the spark plugs again. That's a good sign. Get my oil out of here just in case. Sounds pretty good. Give it a little gas. Oops. So it's so cold. Okay, let's run it wide open for a few minutes and see how that handles and see if it smokes again. Definitely blowing blue smoke. Don't know if you can see that. Okay, well, it blows blue smoke really well. Now, that can be, it sounds like the valves were the problem, based on what I've adjusted so far. Now, the only problem with that is I'm wondering if somebody didn't let the machine run too long, and basically it scored everything to the point where the engine doesn't have much life left in it, or it could just be burning off that all that residual oil from the hours of running like it did. Now, this machine did have overfull oil because of the excessive amount of gas in the oil. Now, somebody asked why I didn't check the oil first. A couple of reasons. One, I was told it was a bad coil, which I have yet to see why it was a bad coil. It just sounds basically like it was running poorly and they blamed it on a bad coil. And then to top it off, I don't know how long it ran like that. So checking the oil for the small amount of time that I ran it, knowing that it had oil because there was no oil pressure light on, I wasn't too concerned about it. To be perfectly honest, it's just not going to damage it that much unless it was just straight water, which it's not going to do that. So I'm hoping that the smoke we're seeing is basically just residual oil left over. And sorry, I'm bouncing all around here. I got about 3,000 things on my mind related to this machine and what could possibly be wrong with it, you know, if it's good or not. But to go back to checking the oil, I mean, I could have checked it, but what I was going to do is I wasn't going to change it until I figured out if it could run right. No reason to waste the $5 on oil if it's not going to run right, if I'm just going to drain it right back out. So I might as well try to get it to run right in about 10 minutes of run time, which should be fine. So nice thing is all the electrical components seem to function just perfectly fine. It's an engine problem itself. It's not a gas problem that we originally thought, because it is running. But now my concern is, okay, how much did the lack of oil damage this engine? I think that's going to be the key. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to pull it out of the shop here, and I'm going to let it run for a few minutes and see if that clears up. Get the engine good and hot and see if it clears up. So once I do that, I'll come back and we'll talk about it some more. Well, it's been running a couple minutes now, and the smoke's actually kind of cleared up. to be honest. I don't know, let's see if we can highlight it. There's no haze. I don't know if any of the dash works or not, but actually seems to run relatively well. A little bit of black smoke there, throttle up. Evidently it was mostly just valves, but it still very much concerns me. It still very much concerns me about the wear that was placed on the engine. So I think what I'll do is I'll, before I do anything else to it, I'll use it to mow tomorrow. I gotta go out in the yard and turn the deck on, so I can do that somewhere else. But anyway, so that's it for this, well, that's it for this project update. By no means is this machine considered saved yet, but this is a much better place than we were at even 24 hours ago. So, I mean, it runs, sounds okay. You know, I think things are looking up. It's not smoking like a chimney, which is good. So we'll keep plugging away at it. So thanks for watching.